welcome to South Matters, the news program on life in Bengaluru. I am Sahana Somashekar and here are the headlines. The government says it has spent hundreds of crores on COVID relief, but has it reached the migrants? As the world turns to ready-made garments, are the tailors being forced to shut down? And the inspiring story of Bangalore's iconic Paralympic player. In detail, the government announced a relief package for workers during the COVID lockdown. Mostly migrants, the workers were promised free meals twice a day and a one-time payment of 5,000 rupees in relief. The government says it has spent more than 750 crores on this relief package and another 2 crores to let the workers know about the package. But did the workers on the ground actually get the relief? Our team from South Matters fact checks.
It's lunchtime at the workers' camp somewhere in Bangalore. An hour's reprieve that every worker looks forward to. After a tense lockdown, these workers are happy to be back at work. As long as there is work, they feel reassured.
आप किधर से हैं?
मैं वेस्ट बंगाल से हूँ।
आपका एज क्या है?
मेरा 30।
आप कितने साल से ये वर्क कर रहे हैं?
इधर हो गया मेरा 5 साल, टोटल तो बहुत दिन हो गया, 10 साल जैसा, पर अभी 5 साल से है, अभी तक घर नहीं गया।
कोई गवर्नमेंट के पुलिस और वो आगे आपको रेशन किट और खाना दे दिया क्या? दाल चना ऐसा?
मेरे को एक टाइम मिला था
गवर्नमेंट दिया?
नहीं, गवर्नमेंट दिया। जिधर मैं रुकता है रेंट में, उधर से ही पुलिस वाला आके वो एक दिन आके चीटी देता है, बाद में चीटी देने के बाद डेट देता है, जो इतना डेट को मतलब स्कूल में जाने का, उधर एक स्कूल है, उधर जाके लाइन से लेने का। तो एक बार मेरे को मिला था, एक ही बार। कितना 10 kg चावल मिला, 1 kg जैसा दाल मिला, और प्याज कुछ थोड़ा थोड़ा मिला, आधा kg। वो तो मेरा फैमिली है बोल के मेरे को मिला, बाकी जो है और भी जिसका फैमिली नहीं है, बैचलर है, उन लोग का तो और कुछ भी नहीं मिला, खाना गीना कुछ भी नहीं मिला।
ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್?
ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 4 ಜನ ಇದೀವಿ ನಾವು.
ನೀವೇ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ?
ನಾವೇ ನೋಡಿ.
ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ನಿಮ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ ನೀವು?
ಏನು 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ 1 अकाउंट ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ।
गवर्नमेंट से तो बोला था और सब लिख के कागज में लिख के लेके गया था, लेकिन मिला नहीं। बोला कि 2000 रुपया देगा, और मेरा उधर जिला का कोर्ट से आया था तो बोला था मेरे को, लेकिन दिया नहीं।
ಹೇಳೋದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರ, ಯಾರು ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ। ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅದು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ।
ಬಿಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮನೆ ಉಳ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ ಆ ಥರ ಏನಾದ್ರು?
ಹಂಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಂಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ।
मिस्त्री जो है वो अच्छा से देखा, पैसा भी कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो, बस खाना गीना पैसा कैसा जो भी चाहिए, अगर कुछ भी हो गया इसीलिए तो खेत भी दिया।
ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 20 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರು, ಆ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನು ಬೇಕು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ಊಟದ್ದು, ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಥಳ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ। ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋ ಹುಡುಗರು ಅವರು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನೇ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ನಾನೇ ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ನಂದೇ। ಆ ಒಂದು ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ। ಅವ್ರ ಖರ್ಚಿಗೆ, ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಖರ್ಚಿಗೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ರಿಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅಂಥದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ।
ನಾವೇ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪನಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ। ನಾವು ಏನು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ದೋ, ಏನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ। ಅವ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲಸ ಇಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಊರಲ್ಲೇ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ರೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ। 10,000 ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ 10,000
ಓನರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಶಾರ್ಟೇಜ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕೈಯಿಂದ ಹಾಕಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ। ನೀರು ಬಿಲ್ಲು, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಲ್ಲು, ಲೆಂಟು, ಏನಿದೆ ಊಟ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ।
आप किधर से है?
हम बिहार से।
आप कितने साल से ये काम कर रहे हैं?
ये काम हम 2011 से कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये साइड में 3 साल से है।
लॉकडाउन में आप कहाँ थे?
लॉकडाउन में जिस दिन लॉकडाउन लगा उस दिन मैं गाड़ी पकड़ के गाँव चला गया।
गांव में कौन कौन रहते हैं?
गांव में मेरा पिताजी रहता है, मेरा माँ रहता है, मेरा भाई बहन रहता है।
तो आप ही उसको पैसा भेजना है क्या?
हाँ, पैसा इधर से काम करके भेजते हैं पैसा। हम वो महीना में 12,000 रुपये कमाते हैं, 400 करोड़।
ಸೊ ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನೋಂದಾಯಿಸ್ಕೊಬಾರ್ದು? ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು
ಅವರಿಂದ ನಾವು ತಿರ್ಗಾತ ಕುಂತ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಕೆಲಸ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ತೀಯಮ್ಮ, ಒಂದು ದಿನ 500-1000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೂಲಿನ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ಅದು ಬಂದಿರೋ ಕೆಲಸನ ಆಗಿರ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಆಗಿರೋದು, ಹೌದಿಲ್ಲ? ಆ ಥರ ಅಂತ ಯಾವ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಾವು ದುಡ್ಡು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ, ದುಡ್ಡತನಂತರ ಯಾವ್ದು ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ನ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನಾನು ದುಡಿದು ನಾನು ತಿಂತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸರ್ಕಾರವನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಬತ್ತು ನಾನು ದುಡಿಬೇಕಿದ್ದು ಬಾಳ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರವ್ರ ರಾಜಕೀಯದವರು ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆ ಅವ್ರವ್ರ ಮಕ್ಳು ಮಾತ್ರ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಎಷ್ಟು बचಬೇಕು बचಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ.
उस टाइम आरएल आर्ट्स में था, वो आधार कार्ड मेरा आर्ट्स डॉक्यूमेंट्स दे के उधर भेज दिया, नहीं मिला कुछ.
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಾಕಾಯ್ತಾ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮನೆಯೆಲ್ಲ ನಡ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ?
ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ?
ಏನಕ್ಕೂ ಸಾಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಡೈಲಿ 300 ರೂಪಾಯಿ 400 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಖರ್ಚಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮನೆ ಖರ್ಚಿಲ್ಲಿದು, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಂಗಸರು ಇಬ್ಬರು ದುಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು 400, ನನಗೊಂದು 1000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ. 1400 ರೂಪಾಯಿಂದ 400 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಅದು 400 ರೂಪಾಯಿ 1000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡಿತೀನಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಿಲ್ಲ. 1000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮನೆಗೆ ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆ ಖರ್ಚಿದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಮಕ್ಳು ಖರ್ಚಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ. 3 ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 5000 5 ದಿನಕ್ಕೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳ. ನಾನು 5000 ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 50 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ಮೂಳೆಗೆ ಅದು?
ಸರ್ ಅದು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮನೇಲಿ ಇರ್ತೇವೆ, ಅದು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು
ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
The government of Karnataka says it spent over 750 crores to help registered workers throughout the pandemic and about 2 crores on creating awareness about these schemes. Of all the workers we spoke to, only one conceded to have received any relief at all. With Ritika, Pranav and Akshay, this is Sanya reporting for South Matters.
Moving on, the tale of the vanishing tailors. Every passing day, a tailor pops up a billboard telling the world that they undertake alterations. Once considered wonderfully skilled, tailors today are either laboring in garment factories or left to alter ready-made clothes. Our team from South Matters follows their trail.
Today's streets are dotted with showrooms selling brands old and new. Formals or casuals, the world seems to have gone completely ready-made. But do you remember the tailor who once cut the cloth to stitch you a new shirt every Deepavali? Mohammed Sheikh was once a proud owner of a tailoring shop employing 3 other workers. He is now a worker himself.
मैं अपने गांव में यही टेलर में काम करता था, टेलरिंग स्टिचिंग का काम करता था. मेरा पुराना यही बिजनेस है. वहाँ रेडीमेड ज़्यादा आ गया, इसके लिए स्टिचिंग बंद हो गया. वहाँ छोड़ के इसके लिए बेंगलुरु में आ गया.
Collectively, their businesses have been taken over by mills and labels. And the few tailoring shops who persisted are now finding it difficult to eke out a decent living. Unlike Sheikh, some tailors persisted with their enterprises. Today, most have been driven to ruin.
ಮೊದಲು ಸ್ಟಿಚಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊತಿದ್ರು ಬಟ್ಟೆ. ಈಗ ಹುಡುಗರು ಈಗ ರೆಡಿಮೇಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಲೇಡೀಸು, ಜೆಂಟ್ಸು, ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ಸು, ಜೀನ್ಸು ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೀ ಶರ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟವೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೈಲರ್ ಕೆಲಸನೇ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟೈತೆ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಜೀವನ. ಈ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಹೊಲಿಸಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಬರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಮಾಮೂಲು ಈ ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಹೊಸ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಹೊಲಿತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಂದು ಕಮ್ಮಿಗಳಿರಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಕಮ್ಮಿಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೇನು ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಯಾವ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಬ್ಬನೇ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೊಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಲ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಬರ್ಲಿ, ಯಾವ ತನ ಬರ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಶರ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ಲಿ, ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲೌಸ್ ಬರಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬನೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
The tailors do have their association, but beyond making appeals to the government, the association seems equally helpless.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ತುಂಬ ತೊಂದರೆಗಳು. ಒಂದು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವುದು ಸೌಲಭ್ಯನೂ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಏನೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ರಿ, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ದಿರ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೈ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವಾಗ ಏನೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾವು ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಬಡವರು ಬಗ್ಗರಿಗೆ ಏನೋ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಟೈಲರ್ ಇವಾಗ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದವ್ರು ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮನೇಲಿ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಇರೋಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವೇನೋ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಿಂದ ಏನೋ ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡೋ ಥರ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಅದು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಯ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ಯಾವ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯನೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಕೇಳೋರೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರ ಮಾನ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆ ಮುಚ್ಚಿದ್ರು ನಾವೇ, ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆ ಆರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹೊಲಿಸ್ತೀರಿ, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಯಾರು ನೋಡೋರೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರ ಲೆಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರ ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Behind the glitz and glamour of these showrooms and the rising garment exports are stories of tailors and small businesses that have turned turtle. A slippery slope that has drawn many shutters on the livelihoods of these craftsmen. Dupendra Kumar, Ren Kumar and Shanmukha, this is Anirudh reporting for South Matters.
Still ahead, government after government has been trying to rejuvenate the city's lakes, but their plans continue to fail. But first, a break.
It's already late. Where's Arjun?
He's looking for universities, right? Maybe he's held up there.
You look so tense. By the way, did you get to choose the university?
No, I'm unable to find an university that meets my requirements.
Whoa. Meet your requirements? What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a place that gives me an opportunity to grow, to excel, to invent, and to innovate. I want to be a part of an institution that paves my way to discover myself and to witness the world moving forward in technology. I want to go to a place that sets a futuristic pattern of education filled with ideas and radical performances. Basically, I want to live my dream.
Dayanand Sagar University. Live the dream.
Welcome back to South Matters. Ahead in the program, US continues to be the first choice for Indians planning to study abroad. But is that changing? And the inspiring story of Bengaluru's iconic Paralympic player Devendra. But first, the story on lake rejuvenation. With no rivers running close by, the lakes in Bengaluru could possibly save the city from dry taps every summer. But once known as the city of lakes, Bengaluru has been forced to pump more and more water from the Kaveri that flows 100 kilometers away from the city. The government announced a huge plan for lake rejuvenation in 2001, but 20 years on, nothing much has changed. Our South Matters team has the details.
Who wouldn't know the majestic bus stand in Bengaluru? But how many would know that this bus stand was once the famous Dharmamudi tank? Who wouldn't know Namma Bengaluru's Alsur Lake? It's hard to believe that along with Miller's tank and Sankey tank, this lake was one source of water for the city.
The Kempambudi lake was about 100 acres and now it has been reduced to 40 to 50 acres. This happened because we have closed all the incoming and outgoing channels of the lake. Since there was rapid growth in population, the land around the lake was encroached for construction. The land once used for farming is now a residential area. So now we can only see around 40 to 50 acres of a small lake which was once 100 acres.
Bengaluru, once a city filled with lake waters, today it's a city that is forced to pump more and more water from Kaveri that flows nearly 100 kilometers away from the city. In 2001, the government announced a huge plan for lake rejuvenation in Bengaluru. Along with BDA, the BBMP was given the task to rejuvenate the lakes in the city. 20 years after the plan, nothing much has changed.
ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲಿ 10 years ಆಯ್ತು.
I have been a resident here for 10 years now, but since 10 years, I haven't seen this lake clean and fresh. It has always been very dirty and shabby maintained by the BBMP. As years pass, now the lake has started to stink since there is no movement of water.
Hard to believe, But this is a lake at Ullal in Bengaluru. Towards the end of previous regime, rejuvenation work was undertaken. The boundary walls were lined and a walking strip was constructed. Today, all that remains here is Iconia crassipes, commonly called as water hyacinth. Looks like another lake is now getting ready for some land sharks to take over and turn it into a high-rise concrete. From being the city of lakes to the city of concrete, Bengaluru hasn't taken much time, but the lakes of Bengaluru won't come back. Government after government put up a familiar pretense of lake rejuvenation. Plans are announced, deadlines are set, and public money is spent. But looking at this lake, is it anybody's guess where it must have all gone? With Rahul, Dakshata, and Sahana, this is Kshama reporting from Ullal Lake for South Matters.
Up next, the number of Indians going to the US for higher studies is falling, but there has been a corresponding increase in students going to universities in UK, Canada, and Australasia. So is it COVID or Trump that has been driving students away from the US? Our South Matters team finds the answers.
Every year, universities in the United States earn over $45 billion from overseas students, enough to subsidize university education for their locals. US continues to be the number one destination for Indians traveling abroad for higher studies. But the numbers are falling. Experts say the decrease can be attributed to anti-immigration policies imposed by the Trump administration. Many students, therefore, are opting for UK instead.
London's a nice place to stay. I mainly came here because of the college. And here the course is amazing. And all the modules and stuff well defined, great professors. Good. At the end of the 4 years, I'll get accredited to the International Geological Society as well. So that gives me better chance to get jobs.
The Trump government was obviously very much against internationalization. You probably know the kind of anti-student measures he took right after he came to office in 2016. I mean, the first thing was banning 7 Muslim Islamic countries students. So I think the attractiveness of the US was dropping a bit. I'd still think it's very attractive for a lot of students, but it was dropping for mainly because this kind of very extreme reactionary right-wing policy plus certain kind of the atmosphere was not very happy.
But it's not just Trump. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced many universities to lower entrance cutoffs. Many have even done away with GRE test scores. For instance, the cutoff for MS degree this year has come down both at the top-ranked MIT and the 25th ranked Johns Hopkins. Some like the 50th ranked Carnegie Mellon and the 76th ranked Georgia Tech are in fact admitting students without considering the GRE test scores.
Actually, GRE scores have been waived off in most of the universities in the US and Canada. Right. Okay. So they're only looking at the IELTS scores. Reason is GRE because most of them are not able to get the required scores, so they waived off the GRE scores. Okay. So now they don't require GRE, GMAT. Even when they talk about MBA, B schools where they're going, some universities don't require a GMAT score.
With universities conducting their courses fully online, students are not willing to pay huge fees. They say the critical elements like international exposure, access to foreign job markets, and networking are missing in online education.
My aim was to get into University of Amsterdam, both for business and economics. Then what made me cancel that? Well, there's a lot of factors, but yeah, COVID-19 playing the most important one in my case. What it meant was that there was a good possibility that people pursuing these majors would be allowed to go to the campus probably in 2021 or in the second year. But the problem was that they had no certainty of when the business majors can come back down to the actual campus. That meant that I might possibly not go to the actual campus for my first year or maybe not at all. Paying a hefty amount, paying lakhs of rupees just to sit at my home and study abroad, that didn't sound like the most ideal option for me.
Meanwhile, countries like Canada and UK are offering options to settle down. Not surprisingly, the traffic from India to Canada has nearly tripled, and the numbers to UK and Australia are not far behind.
The best thing what I liked about Canada was they gave a visa called postgraduate work permit. So just because I have completed 2 years of my education here, they will be allowing me to stay 3 years in the country and look for a job. That for me is huge.
Nearly 50,000 Indian students have enrolled into UK universities in the last 2 years. UK is also offering a range of scholarships for Indian students.
I planned for 2 degrees. I did plan on wanting to study in a different country apart from the UK for my second master's. The UK is one of the few places which takes 15 years of education for masters, and that's one of the main reasons I chose this place.
With Biden ready to take over from Trump, the prospect of a much more liberal immigration regime is on the cards. But one thing is clear, Indians are drawn by the prospect of not just studying abroad, but staying abroad. With Ritika, Sanya and Akshay, this is Pranav reporting for South Matters.
Ahead in the program, the story of Bengaluru's iconic Paralympic player. This and much more after a short break.
It's already late. Where's Arjun?
He's looking for universities, right? Maybe he's held up there.
You look so tense. By the way, did you get to choose the university?
No, I'm unable to find a university that meets my requirements.
Whoa. Meet your requirements? What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a place that gives me an opportunity to grow, to excel, to invent, and to innovate. I want to be a part of an institution that paves my way to discover myself and to witness the world moving forward in technology. I want to go to a place that sets a futuristic pattern of education filled with ideas and radical performances. Basically, I want to live my dream.
Dayanand Sagar University. Live the dream.
Welcome back to South Matters. As Bangalore's population grows, the city is encroaching into new areas, disturbing wildlife in the suburbs. While there are enough laws to protect wildlife and their habitat, animals living on the fringes are under continuous threat. Now, following the recent lockdown, animal rescues seem badly affected. Our South Matters team has more.
People for Animals, a well-known wildlife rescue organization in the city, has represented the cause of these animals for years now. It has managed to rescue over 25,000 animals so far. As the population in the city grew, the number of rescued animals has also grown. But the lockdown is limiting their operations. While wildlife rescue operations were already plagued by other factors, the pandemic has only exposed the problems further.
People for Animals Bangalore is basically a charity organization. Previously we used to get volunteers coming in, people coming in, corporate social responsibility coming in and donating something. We had a huge problem during lockdown getting passes for our rescuers, for our veterinarians and the vehicles.
Usually, the PFA coordinates their operations with the Forest Department, and the police permits at least 5 PFA vehicles to undertake rescue operations. Today, only a single vehicle goes out on a rescue mission.
As we sensitize the people, they know what work we do. Slowly and slowly they get educated and they want to help us. We also have the adoptions going on right now. There are a lot of people who understand what we do. As regular as people used to come and visit, as regular they used to come and see the animals and then we're like, we want to adopt. That's not happening.
Challenges that we faced were, I would say, less informants, because most of the animals that we get are from informers around the city that see animals and see them in peril and they call us. So there's definitely a decline in that.
What is needed is a strong Karnataka Animal Welfare Board, which I feel is not functioning to the mark. As such, we go to confiscate something, we face a lot of hurdles. So the Animal Welfare Board of Karnataka, which has been constituted, should be strong and should work on the ground with some powers.
Despite these issues and funding worries, wildlife organizations like PFA haven't backed down. They continue to rescue working all day. But for how long? The chances of human-animal conflict are bound to increase amidst the rising urban activities. While organizations like PFA are going beyond the call of duty, the Animal Welfare Board also has to pitch in. Along with Anushka, Arsha and Vardhan, this is Akash reporting for South Matters.
Nothing can stop him. No one can pin him down. Our team caught up the never say die Devendra, Nama Bengaluru's iconic Paralympic player. Here's the story.
I came to Bangalore in search of work. When I was working as a wage worker in a granite factory, I fell from 15 feet height and my legs got paralyzed. I tried killing myself several times, but fortunately Dr. Nagaratna came as a ray of hope in my life. One day I happened to meet Manjunath BK, who was a tennis player. He was the one who introduced me into the field of sports. I knew nothing about sports, but for the first time I participated in a wheelchair racing which was held at Chennai. I won third prize. This victory inspired me to become a Paralympic player.
Participating in javelin throw, wheelchair racing and shot put in state and national levels. He further is aiming to represent India in international levels. He is kept under review for 55th category in International Paralympics.
Yes, is simply phenomenal. The way he was picked up from 95 out of 100 would give up on their life. This man believed in himself and fought back.
It's never easy for a sports person to recover from an injury, but it's much more difficult for a severely injured person to become a Paralympic medalist. From Raichur to Bangalore, from a serious accident to Paralympic medalist, Devendra has come a very long way. This is Manish, Supraja, Pranita along with Yashas reporting for South Matters.
So that's it for this time. Until we meet with a new episode of South Matters, you may send your feedback to this email ID. This is Sahana Somashekar signing off from South Matters. Take care.